Hey guys, girls, and envies. Today we're going to be looking at creating an audio reactive data moshing effect inside of Touchdesigner. We're going to be utilizing my free data mosh plugin, like extension, which again is in the link to download below. It's linked to my Patreon, but you don't need to pay. So like don't sign up for the paid one if you just want the data moshing effect. This one I've made available for free, as I think it's like something that'd be cool for like everyone to have access to. But we may do another video in the future where we dive into the code. Essentially, it has a custom optical flow thing, code SL, which enables this to work on Mac as well as PC, whereas some data moshing techniques previously in Touchdesigner only work on PC. But yeah, anyway, essentially the way I've set up this network is that on the kick, it's swapping the primary video, and on the snare, it's on the kick as well, it's also swapping the secondary video, but it's +1, so the next video. And then using the logic on the snare, I have a toggle on and off. You can see the snare and it's set to toggle. So every time there's a snare, it moshes it, and then every time there's another snare, it stops moshing it. The way I've set this up is like completely just, there's no right way to do this per se. I just thought it would be a cool little demonstration of how to use this effect. And as you can see, some videos work much better at being data moshed than others. It all comes down to how much is moving in them and how you trigger the threshold parameters, like if you lower them a lot, and then the intensity of the data mosh effect that you want, and all of that. I highly recommend playing around with these to get sort of your desired look. But yeah, anyway, let's go ahead and delete everything. Actually, let me just like create a no. Let me delete everything. It's not liking me deleting these two here because I shouldn't be operating on this level of the project file, but I am. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to type into my Finder datamosh.tox and then download this. So when you download this tox, you can drag and drop it. There's also a project file available, but this is the extension, so you can drag and drop it into your project file. And I'll quickly just show you how to use this if you don't have a... so you can go movie file in or video file. So this works in real time. It doesn't need to be sequenced. So we can plug this banana in, and then we can go ahead and copy this, and then I'm going to swap this to a different video. We have the default nature videos here that have some movement in them. These are not the best to demonstrate this. If I plug this one in, and then we have our output here, so I can just grab a null, and then I can press D on that to make it my background. And when I press play, and toggle mosh is on, and then I just sort of need to play with the parameters, and you'll see that now this is being data moshed by the background effect. Really good tip that I recommend, and this is maybe a limitation on my own coding, is that if you want a better, higher quality mosh effect, you should upscale your image. So if I upscale this to say 4K, that means it's going to obviously be a lot more resource intensive, but you can see here the data mosh effect is much cleaner. Possibly you prefer the blocky aesthetic, but yeah, I think this is actually just a limitation on my coding, so hopefully in the next version I'll make this a lot nicer for whatever resolution you put in. But yeah, so we have the primary data moshing effect. The way I recommend you actually use this is by getting a keyboard in and assigning this to be toggle. So every time I hold 1 now, it's going to start moshing. This background is also something that you might not want, and you have to edit that in the code, unfortunately. But if I go ahead and just add a black background to this one so it looks a little bit nicer. Oh no, it's removing the background. That's right. Sorry. That makes sense. There we go. But yeah, you can sort of see this is like a really nice data mosh effect. So let's go ahead and actually make this audio reactive. So the first thing we want to do is go and press tab and go to our chops. From here we want to grab an audio file or audio device in. Very quickly, audio file, you can like drag and drop your MP3s or anything in. An audio device would be like a microphone, or you can set up something like a VB cable, which will take internal audio and then like Spotify or whatever, and then process that. To hear this music, we want to connect this to an audio device out, and I'm just going to lower the volume on that, and you can see that, yeah, we get volume. I'm going to disable that for now because we don't really need to listen to this the whole time. With any beginner tutorial, I recommend that we click the palette button in the top left here, and we go down and grab in the tools, audio analysis, and drag and drop that like so. There's a lot better audio analysis tools out there that people have made, and also you can just code your own one from scratch, but for beginners' sake, not having to download anything, this is like a great little tool to use. But we just want to plug our audio into there, and we can click this little plus in the bottom right to make it active, and now we can interact with the UI. So in this case, I'm really only interested in the snare and kick detection, but there's no reason why you can't toggle these on and also use them. To get these values from the first output, you can see the processed levels when we hover over it. Let's connect in a null. And then again, for the audio, for the data moshing effect, for toggling it, I was interested in selecting the snare and the kick. So I'm going to create two little branches. So right click the output and grab a select. And then in the channel names here, I can click kick, and then I'm going to do the same again for snare. And just have them branching off into two different little paths. Cool. So the very first thing I want to do is I want to make this audio reactive toggle. So the toggle here is what's going to be the main audio reactive thing. And just so we have something different to just so we have something different to what I showed you at the start, I'll make the kick the toggle this time. So connecting from the output here, we can grab a logic. Logic is really great. It has a bunch of different combinations that you can do with ops, like ands and ors. If you do programming or math, it's very similar to that. And also very good conversion. But what we're interested in here is the pre-op, and we have a toggle option, which means that when this receives a pulse, it'll hold that, and when it receives another pulse, it'll turn it off, like there. You can see it sort of in action like so, which is perfect for data moshing. So now I can click the plus to make this interactive, click on data mosh, and then drag and drop this onto our parameters and reference it. And if I press play, we don't have sound. Let me play sound, but you can see on the kick, it's working, and I'm gonna have to assume it's working because I don't have my headphones on, but it looks alright to me. Now, the secret sauce to keeping this a lot more interesting is obviously you could bind these to be parts, like you could have this controlled by the high threshold and stuff like that. Instead, what I did was I had a bunch of videos being plugged in, and I'm not going to do all the same videos again, but we'll just use the stock standard ones. So from the before our fit, if you're upscaling, I'm going to insert by right-clicking this line and get a switch, which is going to allow us to switch between inputs. From there, we can copy and paste this as many times as we want. We'll just do 3 in this case, plug those all in, and I'm going to change these to different images, and I'm just going to use like the default Touchdesigner ones today, and maybe a butterfly, very epic. Another good reason to use the fit is that so when we switch to say our butterfly here, and if I it's going to keep the same aspect ratio, whereas if I switch it off, it's going to not have the aspect ratio, and then things are going to be jumping all over the place. Cool. And then, yeah, we can do the same here. So what I was doing in the demonstration at the beginning is that I had the same videos plugged into both the sources, except on the switch here, I had the displaced ones as one ahead, so it would be displaced by the video and then it would swap to that video, if that makes sense. So you get a bit of a like cool transition into it. Because these ones here don't have any movement, I'm instead, well, you could animate movement, but to keep it simple, I'm instead just going to use different videos this time around. But let me show you the logic for this switch. So if we want to use the snare this time, so we can connect the output and get a count, you can automatically assign, so if we go to the count tab and go limit and set it to loop max min, we can program this to just be like the amount of inputs here, but we're going to keep it really simple because it's a beginner tutorial and just set this to do it manually. So we have 3 inputs, so I'm going to set them limit maximum to 2. If you're not sure why 2 instead of 3, it's because in programming we count from 0 and not 1. So it's going to go index 0, index 1, and then index 2, and then back to 0. Anyway, so now we can click the plus and assign that like so. Now, if you were doing the thing where you had the same, like this one also going to here, but you want it to be a video ahead, you would simply just do +1 on the end of this. Again, you're going to reach a logic error when it hits the final input. It's going to be like, hey, this is like, there's no video beyond this. There is a way to code around that, obviously. If you have more advanced programming skills, then please do. But for the sake of beginners, it's not the biggest issue, in my opinion. So let's go ahead and delete that one. And instead, I'm going to copy this movie file and then change these ones. So here we're changing the displace video. Once again, just using the stock standard videos, which all have very little movement in them. So it's actually going to be really hard to see the displacement. I can actually just copy this switch. And the reason I'm doing that is because it holds on to the logic. And then I can delete all these inputs and replace it with these ones, like so. And then replace this there. Cool. So now when I hit play, you can see that on every snare it's swapping between the different videos as well as the displays videos. And that's essentially it. Like, I just wanted to keep this really, really simple and easy today. Advanced sort of recommendations if you want to take this further is like maybe you want the intensity of the data moshing, so you can see the very little there and very lot. Cool thing you could do is you could map that to, say, the FMSD, which is essentially how intense the song is. So if I go like that, you can see the more intense it is, the less it the more it data moshes. And then if I get a math and turn down the volume on the song, you'll see that the data moshing effect becomes less and less until there's pretty much nothing, and actually it throws on the video there, so it's quite cool. So there's lots of different extra mapping things you can do. I really recommend using these same videos you're displacing as like how I did in the intro, so have videos with movement. And in fact, what I could do is I could actually just plug this one, let's copy that and let's plug this one into here, and I can quickly show you it with these ones, except these are not going to be the best videos to demonstrate it. But you can see here, if I pause at the right moment, the other thing is like the logic of the counting. Like there's lots of refinements to be done and improvements to be done. So here you can kind of see the data moshing is very weak. I can't turn it up posthumously, but you can see the outline of the weeds, like so. Very subtle effects, like you might want to play with the thresholds and turn the video mix up and all of this sort of thing. And then it swaps to it, like so. So yeah, do stuff that has a lot more bold movement than these ones, and it should look pretty good. But yeah, that's it for today's video. This Tox is available to download on my Patreon for free. Love seeing the feedback on the last video. So I was like super sick and I watched it back and it's like a very terrible explanation of everything going on, but I still appreciate you guys being receptive of it. So yeah, I will see you guys next time. Peace.